Well, we are still focusing on the children, but more of the babies this morning. Now, mealtime for babies becomes really a bonding experience with the parents. Now, when they reach that milestone of being able to taste flavors for the very first time, seeing the joy on their faces is one of our proudest and our most priceless moments. Now, pediatric dietitian Kath McGaw is here to give us tips and tricks on introducing solids to our little ones. And Kath, good morning. Morning. Always so good to have you with us. G and I were saying you really are the baby whisperer, so anything you say, we literally listen, because introducing babies to solids can be a very overwhelming process for the parents. They don't know where to start. When is it too early? Is it too late? So let's start. And when is it a safe time to introduce solids to our kids? Is there something as starting too early?
Absolutely. So I think definitely before the age of 4 months, you don't want to introduce any complementary foods other than milk to your baby. The World Health Organization recommends 6 months, and that's particularly in developing countries where there's not access to very good complementary foods. Other world organizations recommend between 4 and 6 months. So as close to around 6 months, 5.5, 6 months, you can definitely start to go on a very exciting food journey.
What happens if you don't take your advice and you start off too early and you start with, with like hectic foods or hard foods that are not soft or suitable for baby's body?
So the big concern is obviously allergy risk. So the baby's digestive system hasn't developed fully yet. So that's why you want to delay it and just give exclusive breast milk, or if you can't do breast milk, then you do some formula feeding for the first few months, and then you can start with some gentle, soft, lovely solids closer to 6 months.
And it's always so exciting to see them just figure out all the flavors. I remember we did the lemon test or the lime test, and you put it on the thing and they just crunch up their face. But why do we start with soft foods as opposed to starting with anything like broccoli or maybe more textured foods?
Well, in the beginning, remember, all they've had is a liquid diet. So the food needs to be very soft and pureed because they're used to swallowing liquid. So you want to make it a bit thicker, but quite smooth in the beginning so that it's gentle and that it's easy to digest. So by pureeing, you actually already pre-digesting a lot of the food. And that's why starting with smooth foods are great.
And here's the thing, you compare your palate to your little baby. So for instance, I hate pears. I never want to introduce pears to Luca because I thought, no, he's not going to love it because I don't love it. But that's not the case. They have nothing to refer to. So what flavors would you recommend introducing to them first?
So 100%, babies' taste buds aren't developed like our taste buds, and all they've been used to is milk. So anything other than milk is going to taste going to have a taste to it. So lovely foods like apple, you mentioned pears, butternut puree, carrot puree, all of those are absolutely wonderful to introduce to them. Sweet potato puree is also lovely and also quite filling, which is nice.
Definitely, because this is the time where they're weaning off from the milk a little bit and they need it to get full so they can sleep longer. But then when it comes to allergies, and we spoke about it, what is the common allergy? Again, for me, for instance, I was allergic, or I am allergic to pawpaw and kiwi. So those are fruits that I would maybe shy away from for Luca. But how do we know that they are also allergic to these fruits and foods?
So that's quite an uncommon allergy, and especially in babies. So I'm not saying it doesn't exist, and in your case, you obviously experienced it. But for parents, even if you are allergic to certain foods, those foods are actually very important to introduce to your child, especially if the mom is allergic to them, because the child wouldn't have been exposed to those foods. So you wouldn't want to shy away from them. You would actually want to introduce them. But your allergen food, your most common food allergy is your cow's milk protein allergy. So in the beginning, in the starter foods and that, you're going to find that you want to avoid dairy initially, and then you're going to, from about 6 months onwards, you can start introducing all the allergens. So whether it's your chicken, whether it's your beef, whether it's your lamb. Lamb is a wonderful protein to introduce mixed into some veggies. Egg protein is really good to introduce around that age. And your nut proteins in the form of like peanut butter, and that is also lovely to add to. So for example, you could have butternut puree and you can mix a bit of peanut butter in with it, just to boost it, add flavor, add calories, and that's so nice.
And again, when baby's tummy is full, they are happier, they sleep longer, they're just in such a good space. But it all comes with, because motherhood is so crazy, you're trying to juggle everything. So I'm sure mealtime prep is so important when it comes to introducing solids to your little one.
Absolutely. So it's important to plan ahead, remembering in the beginning that they start with very small little amounts and they're just learning to eat. So whether you buy more convenienced form of food because they do eat so little in the beginning and you don't maybe want to cook up a whole lot, or whether you cook up yourself, whatever you choose to do, you can always freeze it in little ice cubes and then it's ready and on hand when you are ready to feed your baby.
What did I tell him, Zanzi? She really is the baby whisperer. Capital, as always, so good to have you with us. Thank you so much for making this step a bit more easier for those parents that's going through the weaning process or introducing solids to their little one. Now, of course, there you have it, everybody. Convenient meal solutions in a variety of flavors and textures, perfectly tailored for each developmental stage, so parents can enjoy time with their little ones. Now, Purity is there for you every meal, every snack, and every step. Now, listen up, because one lucky viewer stands a chance to win an age-appropriate Purity meal hamper up to the value of 400 Rand. Now, all you have to do is simply reply on the Expresso Facebook or Twitter competition post and tell us what is your go-to Purity jar flavor for your baby. Don't forget to include that hashtag, It All Begins With Purity, in your answer. And remember, the competition closes this Friday, the 4th of March at midday, and those T's and C's can be found on our website, expressoshow.com.
I hope you'll always know how much I love you. I hope that you never stop learning and growing, that you'll be brave and joyful and kind, and that one day when you look at me and I look at you, we'll love the wonderful you that you've become. It all begins with Purity.